What's up, everyone? This is the Go Long Podcast. I'm Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monos. Jim Monos has some extraordinary news to share. I'm sure our loyal podcast listeners, they've been following the news, but thrilled to share the news that Jim Monos is taking his talents to the XFL, baby. So, Jim, tell us what you can, how it came to fruition. Sounds like the band is getting back together to an extent, correct?
But this is one of those you don't have to think too hard on. The connections on this one are just too crazy. But it starts with Russ Brandon, obviously, with the Bills. Then he hires Mark Ross to oversee everything, who was on our show, is a good friend of mine who I've worked with, who's with NFL Network right now. And then he hires Doug Whaley. So, I mean, obviously I got the call, we were all talking and we all had great ideas and excited about, let's give this thing a shot, see if we can't make it work. I mean, nobody's ever made it to year two. I've worked in I worked in the AAF, boom, shut down. I worked in the XFL, COVID, boom, shut it down. So let's give it another shot. But I think there's a market there for it. We have some pretty good ideas. We're going to be aggressive. I can tell you we're going to be aggressive is the best word I'm going to use, as far as rules, talent, as far as how old are they going to be.
Ooh.
We're going to be aggressive.
I love it. I don't even know where to start. I think
there's going to be such
and we'll talk XFL, and we should share here. The pod goes on, correct? We can still
we got the blessing from the XFL. No, Russ Brandon likes our show, and he said let's keep it going. So
sounds good to me, man. I'm thrilled.
I know, man. I'm excited. We're gonna hopefully get some good stories out of this too.
But what an opportunity. I mean, you put it perfectly there. I think you really did see a lane for another league in that post Super Bowl pre-draft window. I mean, there's an opportunity for something to just captivate the country. I mean, people were into that first week of the AAF. They were into the XFL before COVID really hit. I think that the hunger is there, right? There is a market, and if you implement the right rules, I'm sure you can't get into everything here, but I've been banging the table. Look, maybe you just touched on it. You give these kids an opportunity to go professional earlier. Maybe they would like to feed their families. Crazy thought. Maybe this talent that they have, if they had a talent in anything else at 18 years old or 19 years old, and they could use that to provide, why not football?
I think as long as we could somehow provide an opportunity for them to earn college credits while they're playing in the XFL and they're making money, you play for 3 years and go to the draft.
Right.
I mean, it just takes that one. It would just take that one, that one guy, that one, whoever it is, a 5-star. I would love to. I mean, that to me would be where you could make history, as far as a 5-star turns down college to go make money and earn credits.
It absolutely will happen too.
I don't see why it's such a it doesn't seem so crazy to me. Like, I just feel like it just takes that one person that can understand the vision of, hey, why not? Why should let's go make money and learn the game, from, a professional type atmosphere. So,
personally, I would prefer that 18-year-old just go to an Urban Meyer-led program, a fatherly figure, somebody that will really nurture them along, really teach them about life, maybe leadership too, maybe, grinding on women that aren't your significant others at a bar when you're drunk and you're not flying home with your team. That could be a course as well. No, but you know what? I think we've touched on it before. In so many ways, even beyond football, college is kind of a sham. It is. And if you can cut out the middleman, if you can provide the development and the opportunities with an XFL, colleges aren't going to, they're gonna be terrified of you guys, as they should,
It,
because kids don't need it.
for some reason, it makes sense to me, but it just it's just going to take, like anything else, just takes that first.
It
But
does.
something like that is something I would just think would be a game changer.
I'm so excited. So 2023.
Yeah. So I think the goal is to get the teams assembled this fall. Not when I say this fall, like November of 22,
Yeah,
and then try to get ready for the spring of 23 for games.
I think there is. Man, I just want to talk XFL this whole hour. I really
No, we
do.
don't
Like,
have to. I don't, because to be honest,
we'll come
there's a
back
lot
to
I,
it.
yeah, there's a lot I don't know yet. So I'm kind of like, I can't wait to get a lot more knowledge and share it and talk about it. And it'll be
But
cool.
there's a lot of talent that gets lost in the shuffle. You watch
It's
an NFL game.
yeah,
How many times is there a Rasul Douglas getting a pick six, or
yeah,
a running back that nobody's ever heard of? That Chase Reynolds with the Lions is running for 112 yards. Like,
yeah.
there's these random guys come in and have these big games. You can't tell me that elite. Like, if you're a player and you're kind of buried on a practice squad, or you're sixth string, you're not getting an opportunity. Go to the XFL. Get on a network television. Get your name out there. Get the ball in your hands. Show the world what you can do. There's going to be a pool of talent to really pick from, I think.
I'm telling you. So the starting right guard for the 49ers right now, when I was in the AAF, I was working in personnel for the San Diego team. Awesome job, by the way. Like, as far as,
San Diego, hell yeah.
oh man, I'm telling you, that was the best. Mike Martz that's a whole other, we'll talk with them. I'm sure we could have a pod on that. That guy
I have
is,
so many Martz questions for you.
yeah, that guy is, I don't know, he's out there, but he is an offensive, like,
Well, Belichick kind of
stuff
broke him though, right? Like, I think that was in Seth Wickersham's book. I still have to read it.
interesting. That's
Yeah.
so interesting. But anyway, the starting right guard for them, we had on our team in San Diego, like, I was like, dang, that's cool to see him doing that. And tight end for the Chargers that got hurt the other day, that Parham, he was an XFL fine.
That's right.
So don't, like, it's definitely, you'll get those guys, or you can just get guys that are going to continue to play football at a high level, get, and continue maybe their education or whatever it is. But a lot of different options.
I like it. Well, I'm
Yeah.
thrilled for you. Happy for you.
Thanks, man. It's been great.
You deserve the opportunity, and
Appreciate it.
yeah, I don't even think it's a. I don't even think it's a debate. It will succeed. I can't wait to see it succeed too. All right. Well, we're brought to
So
you
now-
by Hamburg Brewing
now-
Company. We gotta throw that in there, right?
We definitely do. And you got the Frosty IPA is just that time. It's that time of year.
It is Frosty the IPA season. I will say though, Jim, right now I'm working a little grounded. It's the bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with coffee. I mean, you can combine coffee and bourbon together in a stout at 10%. Yes, that's 10%. That's the beer choice.
That's
these
pretty
days.
strong.
It's good. It's good. I can't
argue
tell
that
everybody
one.
enough. Check it out. Get their beer. You won't be disappointed.
Never.
So I figured we'd talk a little New York Giants today. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I it's been incredible, man. It was nice to see some other people. I feel like I'm the only one to telling people what's going on and behind the scenes sometimes. It can be a shit show.
You
And
nailed it.
You have heard enough stories from me. You got it from the Giants now. Like, you see how this dysfunction is a real thing for the NFL teams.
It is completely. And to kind of bring it back to why I launched the Go Along newsletter, I mean, it's to try to find stories that you're not going to get at a press conference via Zoom and the centralized messaging from these NFL teams. It's sad, but that's kind of what it is. Without open locker room, without that ability to get in there, and do some original reporting, original storytelling. And look, like we've always said, there's teams out there that work that they hate it, that work around it, that are very, very helpful, and there's teams that aren't. But by and large, that's kind of where things are going. Like, here is the messaging, here's what we're pushing out. And I feel like the truth gets lost,
Yeah.
when and the people that lose out are the fans putting millions of dollars into this product, that make this product possible, that are obsessed with the NFL. So yeah, I mean, the impetus for the story, Jim, 9 of the last 10 years, they haven't made the playoffs. 5 years in a row, 6 wins or less. You're talking about the New York Giants. You're talking about the quote unquote model franchise, as many refer to them as. And it just starts with why. Like, how did it get this bad? Like, what the hell happened here with the Giants? And I reached out to as many people as possible. And look, Dave Gettleman, 4 years in, things have only gotten worse. And they're giving away medium sodas as for fan appreciation. The team isn't really fighting at all on the field. And he let a lot of people go. And yeah, these are the people willing to speak freely. These are the people who want to explain to the public what's going on. Here's what happened. Draft to draft, pick to pick. It's not opinion. This is just what happened. This is what went down. So I should, first of all, if people are listening and new to the podcast, which you might be, thank you for subscribing to go along. I've been blown away, Jim. I mean, the response has been through the roof. If anybody had any doubts about the Giant fan base, it is loud, it is massive, and they want answers. They want to know how it got this bad, and they want changes. I think they're tired of the status quo of just promoting from within, promoting friendly faces, not getting an independent thinker to come in and fix the shit going on. That's what they need. Like, sorry, it's you hung on to Eli Manning too long. Probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, legend. I get it, but it's a theme on this podcast, right? We've always talked about when do you let go? How do you let go? You had to cut bait sooner than you did. Hey, guilty as charged on Daniel Jones. I took that hook, line, and sinker. I love this game. They might be getting time to really think about him if you're the Giants. Cutting bait. Because if you hang on, you're going to be blind to a potential savior for your franchise. And please, if you don't subscribe, check it out. We have all the detail in there, but kind of hanging on to Eli a little too long, kind of blinded them from the possibility of another quarterback. One example being Patrick Mahomes and Ben McAdoo, who did a lot wrong. He was not perfect by any means. Ben McAdoo loved Patrick Mahomes. Like, he went to his pro day, loved him, wanted to get his hands on him. But they weren't in the mindset, right, Jim? Like, they weren't in the mindset to even think about what Kansas City did because of the Maras, because of this Eli this Eli belief, I should say.
Yeah.
So you draft a running back and round you go in the next year, I should say.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this whole situation, Jim? I mean, it's I'm fascinated by it, and I'm not, obviously I have no stake in the game. I'm just trying to get answers on the why and the how and the what. But if I was a Giants fan, I wouldn't be happy. Like, they're in a bad place.
I think I've talked about it on this show enough. When you're structured correctly, it starts right with ownership that's going to spend money and pretty much stay out of the way. Do the Giants have that? That would be a question mark, correct? Correct. The GM and head coach have to be tied together. They have to be, or else you're just banging your head into the wall. They didn't know each other. Like, they didn't have this was a kind of a forced relationship. And then your fourth thing has to be franchise quarterback. Don't have it. They have none of the 4 things you need to be a successful team organization right now. Like, they're not close. And it starts at the top to get out of the way. Get out of the way. Pick who you want, GM or head coach. Who is it? Does the GM have all the power? Then he hires the head coach. Does the coach have the power? He hires the GM. They have to be synced up. And then go get your quarterback. Move on from Daniel Jones. It's not going to work. Like, it's just not. Not New York. I don't hate Daniel Jones as a player. I don't. Um, I don't see. I haven't seen a lot of improvement. Like, it's still the incredible amount of turnovers and poor decision making. It's just not getting better. It's really
Perfectly
they're really
stated.
far off. Yeah, they're far off from being a good organization right now.
It really does start at the top, though, and I get it. Dave
Yes.
Gettleman is central to this all. He
Yeah.
is the general manager. He is the one at the press conference table, saying that Saquon Barkley was touched by the hand of God, and Daniel
It's
Jones, when he saw
just
him at the Senior Bowl, he was in love. Which, Jim, Senior Bowl game, I'm guessing not usually a
uh,
strong
wasn't no
persuader.
doesn't need to be on your radar. I mean, the rules are strict. You get like, I think maybe one blitz. Like, there's one way
Yeah.
to blitz, maybe. There's only a couple coverages. I mean, you're not getting anything out of that. That's not even
Which
fair
kind
to
of
judge.
which
Yeah.
kind of affected your career, though. I mean, you come in, well, not to go down this road again, but you came to
No.
Buffalo after they drafted EJ Manuel. I think Buddy Nix probably used that Senior Bowl performance by EJ to an extent. I don't know the details on that, but some
Oh, yeah, we get into EJ, but yeah, I guess you can be around a guy, especially at the Senior Bowl a little bit, where this is where you're around, now they're around coaches and you're finding out which guys are like, hey, these guys are sharp. These guys are, which players are kind of pro ready.
yeah.
So, you get that on you. You're like a Daniel Jones, maybe that's what Gettleman just thought he was the next Eli, and Peyton, because he went to the Manning
Both coached
camps
by
or
David
whatever.
Cutcliffe. They
Right.
had the same demeanor, similar
Right.
games. But back to that point on ownership, it
But
does
yeah.
start there, and I'm sure they would deny the meddling, until the cows come
Yep.
home. Look, all you have to do is go on the team website. That's all you have to do. Go to the personnel department. Look at the first name, Chris Mara. Then, as I was told, you go to right below that, a nephew of the owner. Like, this is family. This is
Right.
family in personnel in football. I mean, this isn't being invented. It's not being made up. Nobody's saying that he is above the general manager, but the presence of somebody who is not going anywhere, he's not going to be fired by his brother, has an effect. That's how an Eli Manning sticks around. But yeah. So I'm sure. I'm sure they aren't alone. I mean, this is the case in a lot of places. And look, if you own a team, and I always come back to the book America's Game, Jim, by Michael McCambridge. Everybody, please, if you're looking to get somebody in your life a last minute Christmas gift, and they are a football fan, like I can't recommend the book enough. Have you read it, America's Game?
No, and you're making me want to, because you've talked
Oh,
about it. And I'm like, it feels like it's something I need to really sink myself into.
it just takes you from the 40s to today, basically, on the evolution of the sport. But I just was reading a chapter recently on Jerry Jones, and like when he bought the team, he sacrificed everything. I mean, he put his life savings on the line, all of that. And he made it clear immediately, like, I am moving to Dallas. I am going to be immersed into everything. This is my life. So you own a team. You paid for the team. You feel like this is you're able to do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But we see it again and again and again. Like, it doesn't lead to wins in many cases. You need to set your
It's
ego aside. Ego is the root of all evil. You need to somehow strip that, get somebody that you trust, that you believe in there. Look no further than New England, where I know Robert Kraft has stepped in from time to time. We know the Tom Brady stuff, but guess who's running? It's Bill Belichick. He realized he had some greatness there, and he is going to let that greatness do its thing. And that's an extreme example. But there are franchises that are run correctly. The Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, And there are some where I think we all kind of assumed the Giants were this model franchise when in reality, ownership, they do have their fingerprints on things.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, when you go through it, when you read what you were talking about and getting these stories from these guys, I like it sounds real because I've been in those situations where it's like those are real life debates. I mean, where
Yeah.
you can have a coach love somebody and the scouting staff not, and it can seriously change your franchise. And that's why there has to be a clear decision maker in the building, and what is the vision for the team.
Great point, because that
It's
came
just,
up again and again with the Giants. DeAndre Baker, Georgia cornerback, troubled in college. And
which
please,
a
all the
scout,
details are in the stories.
which that's what a
Subscribe, it's all
scout
there. But
does. Yep, scouts.
Marcus
That's
Cooper is the area scout, who was from Buffalo. Did you guys? I don't know if you guys
yeah.
cross
We
paths.
work. Cooper and I work. Yeah, we work together. Yep.
So I was told, he's the area scout down there, and he told the Giants, "Look, talked to the position coach. He's got work ethic issues. He did the digging. He talks to the people running the workout facility, down there, where he gets ready for the draft. They're saying he's not
Yep.
showing up. He's trying to FaceTime him during the season. He doesn't answer sometimes. Red flags all over the place. And Pat Shermer wanted him bad, and Dave Gettleman bent to the head coach, and that's where it pays to have a GM be the decider. That's why Ted Thompson was so good. Like,
Oh
he
yeah.
wasn't perfect. Like Ted, especially toward
Nobody.
the end when his mind started going, but he didn't say much in his press conferences, but he made it clear, like, it ends with me. Like, I'm gonna be the decider. I'm making that final call. I don't think Gettleman isn't like sitting on a throne, being some type of emperor. He if anything, like, he maybe should have been a little more decisive as far as that goes. But yeah, because with DeAndre Baker, he with Shermer, and basically said, "Hey, get his ass in line. I don't want to hear about anything." They took him with all these reservations, and what happened? He's terrible. 10 games in, he's 113th ranked corner out of 113 corners in the NFL. His teammates are calling out his work ethic. He gets benched by Pat Shermer. He has the incident. Um, who knows what happened? The charges were dropped, right? And he's playing for the Chiefs right now, but he was arrested for holding up somebody at gunpoint. It's not pretty, or I should say allegedly. And his attorney said it was extortion, and charges were dropped. However you slice it, that notwithstanding, a terrible draft pick, a first round draft pick, and they knew the red flags, and they still took him. And that's where you should have listened to the scouts. There's an art to scouting. There's an art to it, and you're getting into somebody's character. Now, here's what I want to ask you, Jim. Like, as a coach, you do know you need some guys with a little shit to them, a little edge. Like, and that's where it gets tough. Like, how do you kind of differentiate the player who's very, very talented, who may have a little baggage, but you can work with that baggage? And I think that's probably where it comes down to just football character, right? Like, if there's somebody is going to show up early, stay late, put in the hours, but he has a little baggage, maybe you take the chance on that guy, Micah Parsons, who they didn't take a chance on. That How do you kind of wade through that discussion?
You'd be shocked to sit in draft meetings and hear area scouts. When I used to be one, and you wouldn't believe the amount of things we knew about these guys. That's all you do. And I learned at a very young age as a scout is my grade on a player. Like, if I think, oh, we should take him in the second, third round, fourth round, whatever. I was all into that as an area scout. I was told that that's the furthest thing they need from you. That let them make that decision. Like, that's what they're getting paid to do. Your director of scouting, your GM. You know everything you can about that guy. Character, off the field, whatever it is. Mental, how intelligent. You have to be ready for those questions.
Yeah.
I always thought Coach Payton did a great job of putting us on the spot. as scouts, hey, what's, boom, tell me about him quick, if, and be able to like, what are we scared of? Like, what is it?
And then
Is it
they
his hands?
decide like, what do we take the chance on
Yeah,
and
is
what
it
we
his
don't.
hands? Is it his football character? How bad was it? What are we talking about? I don't know. So if your scouts are saying, if they're telling you stay away, you really have to think about it. I
Well
really
said.
believe that. You gotta, the scouts, I'm telling you, they know a crazy amount of things about these players.
Because you're investigating these players.
Oh,
I mean, and
it's unbelievable. That's why I told you the 30 for 30 with Urban Meyer at Florida would be. I felt like I knew everything about those guys. I did some good digging. I just remember the digging I had to do for that team, those teams. And
that's where
I got a good source. I networked and got a good source. And I felt like
really,
if you felt like you just broke a story, or if you were in that line of work, that's how it felt. I was like, boom, I got my guy. Like, I got an assistant coach that told me everything.
oh man, I know you
Yep.
can't say who this assistant coach is, but this is somebody who
I could never do that. It was
told you
just
the dirt
too,
on all these players.
oh, I'll never, I was like, I felt like I was writing a novel about the University of Florida. Like, every guy had a long, long list of things, but they were so talented.
When you write a
That's why I guess that's my point. Yeah. What do you weigh? You know, does he love football or not? Does he love it or not? Everybody has stuff they're going to do off the field.
Yeah.
Can they handle it? Because they love football.
It's so true. I don't know if
It's that simple.
the
Like, do you
casual
just,
fan realizes
yeah.
that there's a lot of guys who are very talented, but they don't love it,
Uh,
right? Like they on Sundays they might play it because they're good at it, but they don't love it. It's a job.
that that running back we traded for, Bryce Brown.
Yeah.
Um, I was a big fan of his. He didn't love football.
Is that right?
Mm-mm. He didn't love it.
How could you tell? Like, what are the telltale signs?
Just talking with him and even Anthony Lynn, I remember we were all just like, it was just always something. He always had something, whether it was bad luck with an injury or off the field stuff, like that was family related, that was tough. It just, I don't know. He just didn't seem like he just loved football, but he was so talented.
I mean, his career arc reflects exactly that, where he comes in as a rookie in 2012, seventh round with the Eagles, and he has a very good season. He averaged 4.9 yards per carry, 115 carries for 564 yards. Has another pretty good season after that, and then you guys acquire him in 2014. And didn't he have like a big fumble that season?
Yeah, he was getting
Like
ready to score. He was playing really well too.
was that the Kansas City game?
Kansas City. Mm-hmm.
Man, it's unfortunate because I feel like a lot of these guys, I mean, you can't make somebody love something, I suppose. But you would think that later in life they might look back, he might Google his name and look at that Pro Football Reference and say, damn it, I should have poured myself into it a little bit more. Or maybe not.
I know. It's tough. It really is. It's tough, but you've done so many stories with mental toughness, mental health. It's so real.
It is. So when you're writing a report, and this was in
Yeah.
I believe part 1 of our Giant series. So with the Giants when Dave Gettleman came in. I mean, he basically wanted to just wipe the memories of the scouts, change everything, completely change the scouting system from this numerical, alphabetical categories, separating guys based on a letter grade with a number, and the history is all in there. It goes back to Sid Gilman, Tom Landry's Cowboys, the mid-'70s Patriots, George Young brought it to the Giants. It's tried and true. And then you have the Ron Wolf system, which also works, and obviously has worked for the Packers. But Gettleman kind of brings that in. But at the nitty-gritty level with the scouts that I talked to, when they're writing reports in the past, they could kind of freehand it and write it as a story, mix in the positives with the negatives, and have an intro. You know what I mean? Like, here's the true story on this prospect. And Gettleman was like, no, like positives, negatives, cookie cutter, bang, bang. When you were writing reports, which did you prefer? And what do you think is the best way to go about it? And how does it manifest itself when you are deciding on these prospects?
Yeah, it's funny. Every scout has a certain style. I always try to tell a story, kind of work your way. You hit them good with the good quick, does this well, concerned with this. And then, and you mix it in throughout. The positive negative thing, you're missing out on details. Like the scout will be able to tell you some of the, expand on the positives and negatives and really dive into why is he going to be good or why would he fail? I always like to talk like that. Hey, what's going to prevent him from, because sometimes you answer your own question. You're like, yeah, I mean, he has some, these negatives may prevent him from being, even if you thought for sure, like this guy would, you have to check yourself and really dive into why would he fail.
I agree. I don't understand the cookie cutter form. I mean, I feel like if you really want to get to know a guy, and I'm biased because my job is to try to tell a story that's interesting and has an arc and is pulling people in and makes you interested. Scouting is the same thing. Like,
same thing.
let's get to the truth and let's get to it organically. Let's not, feel like we're on an assembly line with this all. But so if you're Dave Gettleman and you're taking over as GM, all right, you're Dave Gettleman, Jim. It's 2018. All right, you got the job. Let's even set aside the fact that he got the job with the agreement to some degree. Eli Manning's the quarterback. All right. Okay. You can do whatever you want with Eli Manning. Let's do that in 2018 as GM, and you got the second overall pick with all those players that were available. What are you doing in that moment? Not in hindsight. What are you doing right then?
That's it. You're quarterback. We are taking a quarterback. We are moving on from Eli. It's enough. Like, enough. That's forward thinking.
Yeah.
That's how you have to be. You have to know when to cut ties.
And obviously they had the shot at Josh Allen. And I know Sam Darnold was there too, and nobody really knew where they would have gone because Dave Gettleman didn't really entertain the thought. It seemed like it was Saquon all the way. He didn't like any of the quarterbacks.
And for a running back, like, I know.
Yeah. Bradley Chubb is there. Quentin Nelson is there. Trading down. You were 3-13 the year prior. Trade down, get picks, rebuild. You have holes everywhere. It was the ultimate luxury pick. It really was, wasn't it?
I mean, what running back would change? I can't even think of one. I mean, I love Christian McCaffrey, but he can't stay healthy.
No.
Alvin Cook, I mean, he's a stud. But does he change your team? I don't know. I just don't know if running backs change your team.
I mean, case in point is Saquon Barkley's rookie season, right? I mean, they go 5-11, but he rushes for
He was
1,307 yards. He has 721 receiving yards. He catches 91 balls. He scores 15 touchdowns. He does everything that
he
you'd want
was
out of a running back. And guess what? You won 5 games. And then he plays this position where the college scouting director is saying, it doesn't matter what you have on the offensive line. He's Saquon Barkley. You see this film? It's unbelievable. Well, guess what? That line isn't very good, and it never does develop. And Dave Gettleman's mistakes compound, and he does get hurt, and he's playing behind a bad line, tears his ACL, suffers the ankle injury, has the low ankle injury. It's been sad, you know. He 4 years into this, going on 5, and he hasn't changed anything. And you know what? He's the same player he was at Penn State too. Like that's the thing. Like, I mean, granted, not with the injuries. The injuries have affected him. I'm just saying, like, it's not like they drafted him thinking he was a good player and he was a bad player. He's a good player, but the
Yeah,
nature of the
no doubt.
position and everything you've done around him has made it such where it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
And that's where who's making these, how are you moving forward as an organization? Like, who thought a running back was going to change in a year where you had all those quarterbacks?
Right. You know, if they were smart too, if Dave Gettleman was a good poker player, what he would have done, right, is okay, even if you have to roll with Eli for right now, fine. Okay, fine. Sell to the public, sell privately to other teams that you can't wait to move on from Eli, and you're going to draft a quarterback. And guess what? It might be Darnold, it might be Allen, it might be Mayfield, it might be Lamar. You keep them off balance, build up the value of that pick to the upteenth degree, and then trade down, right? Even if it's just a few slots. I mean, look what San Francisco had to give up to move up to take Trey Lance. Like, you could still get a Quentin Nelson. You could have gotten a Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, that draft was loaded from what I recall. Vita Vea was in there too. You need everything if you're the Giants. You need everything. So even if, and that's the thing, Dave Gettleman said at his press conference, rewatching those, that he take him at his word. He didn't like any of the quarterbacks. So if you don't like, or I forget his exact quote, none of them blew him away. Like he wasn't enamored to the point of needing to take one at number 2. But if that's the case, fine. Make it seem like you love everybody to these teams.
Just go act like, yeah.
And then trade down. Am I being naive? I feel like, I mean, I haven't been in the NFL. Could that be a thing that he could do?
Yeah, you could do it. You should at least sell it. You should sell it. Like you're saying, like, because it was a quarterback heavy draft. Like you were in a power position.
Yeah.
Like you were in a great position to take a quarterback.
Yeah.
The heck with all the trading, you should have been everything you could find out about Josh Allen, Lamar. Like, I mean, you're talking about 2 of the most physically gifted quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar.
Oh my gosh.
Just physically gifted.
And that's the thing too. It's like, of course he should have the acumen to know that one of these guys is going to be a stud and you need to add that player. But even if you don't, use the perception that you do. And instead, after he took Saquon Barkley, here's what Dave Gettleman said, quote, "People call you and they want the second pick in the draft for a bag of donuts, a hot pretzel, and a hot dog. Go away. Leave me alone. I ain't got time to screw around." Does that sound like somebody entertaining offers for the number 2 pick, Jim?
Oh my God. The industry is just hilarious. It's such a bad quote.
General manager for 4 years
That's such a bad
of the
quote.
prestigious New York Giants. Looking for hog mollies.
Yeah. Well, that's a hard one for me. I have some friends on that, that went through that with the Giants, and
Yeah.
it doesn't upset me to see them struggle.
Man. Well, I hope everybody is able to learn a little bit from our series. Like I said, thank you. Thank you for subscribing, for supporting Go Long. This is completely powered by the people. We're not tethered to corporations or advertisers or anything like that at the newsletter. It's all direct from the consumers, and we want to get answers. We want to figure out why. And people were willing to explain it. We appreciate that. We'll see what happens. I think they'll probably just promote from within, Jim. I think they're going to make the same mistake. We'll see. I did hear from a source, an AFC exec, that they are at least interested in a football mind to come in. But then you hear, well, Kevin Abrams is a strong contender to move up. He's been in the organization for 23 years. He was a salary cap guy, if I'm not mistaken. That's how he kind of got his teeth. He's not out on the road. He's not looking at these guys as a scout nearly as much as everybody else. What do you think they'll do? What does your instinct tell you?
That makes it tough. Like, who is going to be the power position? Is Judge going to survive?
They love Joe Judge.
So he might have the power.
So it's not dissimilar, right, from what we've seen before. I mean, I guess it's different from your situation, but McDermott did get power. But we've seen front offices shaken up to some degree, and then the head coach emerges with the final say. It seems like the Maras love Joe Judge, and that he'll probably have a lot of say, won't he? And if you take him at his word, he wants to roll with Daniel Jones. That's his guy. Man, what a division! What a division! We were poking fun at the Philadelphia Eagles for a while. Right now, if you were to ask me which team will win the most games for the next 5 years, I might say Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts, if he develops as a passer a little bit. Howie Roseman has not been perfect, but
no, I like the way they play. Like,
they play hard.
They're hard. They play hard.
Like Sirianni's done a good job. Dallas has a lot of talent, but Mike McCarthy is, still settling for those field goals at the other half. And Washington, I mean, they've got COVID and everything hit them hard, but I was so high on Washington into the season, Jim, and the secondary started so horribly.
Strange how bad. Yeah, strange how bad.
They couldn't overcome it. All right. Any final thoughts on the Giants?
No, man, that was great. It's really
grievances.
It's really been fun. No, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Well, thanks so much, and thanks everybody for reading. And everybody, please send my man Jim Monos here a congratulatory tweet or beer. Maybe they can find you and just get you a beer. We're so happy for you, Jim.
We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some good fun. Yep, we're gonna have some good fun with this.
I love it. Love it. I mean, we'll make the XFL a part of things. We'll give people a look at this league that they're not going to get anywhere else.
No, we're gonna have some good stories coming. Yep. We should get some good guests too.
I like that. Beautiful.
Some head coaches you're gonna be surprised about.
Ooh, so you've got some names. You know what's cooking behind the scenes. I like it.
Leave it at that.
All right. Well, if that's not a reason to subscribe to Go Long, I don't know what is, right? Hey, golongtd.com. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple, Spotify. That's all over the place. And until next time, geez. Well, hey, talk about burying the lead. Jim, are you in the Christmas spirit now that we're
Oh,
just a few days away?
like getting the job announcement right before Christmas. I'm in the spirit.
Love it.
Things are happening.
Fire up the Muppets. Play the Mariah Carey.
I like the Mariah Carey. I like it.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, congratulations. And thank
Cheers.
you, everybody. We will catch you very, 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 very soon.